To save some time, I've put some effects on the project so far. I'd like to show you those effects and give you an idea of how they work. On the video, which is the second layer here, I've added two effects. I have the drop shadow that I added at the end of the last movie. I've also added a page turn to this movie. And when I click on the layer, the two effects show up in the effects control. And now I can turn the disclosure triangle down to see all the different things that are animatable. And if I close the pull the disclosure triangle down here, you can see the same things. So on the page turn, I've got a couple of keyframes here. I have the fold position. So if I go here, the fold position is a little mark that will show up down here. When I click on that, we can see there's the fold position of this page turn. And as I drag through this, it animates, the effect happens, and the page comes off the screen. And I've moved the page, I've moved the location for this page turn to be way up here off the screen, so that the page completely exits the frame. And then what I've done is I've also added another effect to the text layer. Now I've added a scatterize effect, and if I pull the disclosure triangle down onto effects, we can see the scatterize effect is here. And when I pull that disclosure effect triangle down, I can see I'm hitting the plus key to make the timeline a little bit bigger. You can see I've created two keyframes here. One for scatter at 0. I'll make this a little bit bigger here. I'm just using the mouse to make it bigger. So the text starts at with 0 scatter, and pull this down so you can see. So the scatter, and this is the attribute that I animated. And then 1 second later, I have set the scatter to be 248, a number of 248, and you can see that it has scattered the text all over the screen. And then what I did was, on the bottom of this, I just made two animations for the opacity, so that the opacity, as soon as the scatter happens, the opacity begins to go from full opacity, 100%, down to 0 opacity, and basically fades out. So let me scroll through this. I'll scrub through this. I'm just taking my cursor, and I'm going to make the timeline a little bit smaller so we can see that. Okay, so I'm going to take my cursor back to the beginning, and you can watch what happens. So we have the text on the screen. The video footage will shrink down. I'm just scrubbing here. And the processor can't keep up with this, so it drops to really low resolution. The picture locks. My page turn animation begins. And then the text scatterizes. That's my animation. Now this won't play in real time. When I hit the space bar, it chugs along in almost slowest motion. So you can't play this in real time. You have to kind of preview it like this, and then once it's previewed, it should show you. It's not going to be real time. You have to understand it's not real time. I'll let this preview to the end. And as it previews, we have a green line over top of the items that preview. It will preview as much video as it can until the computer runs out of memory. Now we're going to have a spot that's ready to go, and there's my scatterize, and there's my animation. In the next movie, I'm going to export this and render this for use as a video.